I woke up with this message on my heart, just about fear, man. Because as I was speaking, it just is crazy because I was thinking to myself, like, man, like I can't believe that I'm like doing this, because speaking was one of my biggest fears, like it is for a lot of us. A lot of people are scared to public speak, for a lot of reasons. The fear of being judged, standing up in front of people, whatever, all those type of reasons. And I was just kind of reflecting on like how I overcame my fear. And these are just suggestions. There are a lot of ways I'm sure you can overcome fear. These are just three things that really stuck out to me with my life. And because now, I'm not fearful when I'm on stage. It's like second nature to me now, and it hasn't always been like that. It's crazy because I remember I could only speak for like 5 minutes, and the other night I spoke for 2 hours and 30 minutes. So like, how does that work? So let's talk about it. First of all, we have to understand what fear is, and I like to define fear as this: creating a known result from a situation you haven't experienced yet. So you're like, well, what does that mean, a known result? So fear to me is saying what it's going to be before you even experience it, right? Fear is saying this is what the result is going to be before you even attempt to try it, right? Before you even attempt to experience it. So, for example, it's like if you play sports or you're a boxer, right? It's like kind of saying you're going to lose this fight before you even step in the ring. And it's crazy because if you tell yourself that, of course, you're not going to want to enter the ring. It's defeating yourself before you ever step foot in your ring. Brent, if you're on my live, why are you texting me? Defeating yourself before you even step in your ring. And so when you think about your ring, whatever that may be, some of us are in a fear to leave a relationship. And if you know me, I believe in fighting for your relationship. I want you to stay together and all of those things. I love beautiful relationships. But some of us are in toxic situations. And we know that it's not right for our life, but we have the fear. Some of us, we're creating known results saying, well, if I leave this situation, my identity is going to be lost, or I'm going to struggle financially, or, nobody else is going to love me, or whatever. We create the results for our future when we don't know what our future is going to be. And so we stay in a bad situation. Or some of us, might have a dream or a vision and, that we really want to do. And we say, what, nobody's going to care about it. Nobody's going to support it. It's not going to impact any lives, so why should I go do it? I don't have the resources. I don't have all these things, and we talk ourselves out of doing it. And so understanding that with fear is key, understanding what you're doing. When I first started speaking, when I was scared, I realized what I was doing to myself. Why was I so scared to go speak on stage? Because subconsciously, even if it was consciously, but really subconsciously, I was telling myself, like, nobody's going to care. I'm going to forget my words. Like, I don't... Why my message is not going to be important, all these negative things. So of course I'm not going to want to go do it if I'm defeating myself. And so what really helped me was honestly first prayer and like saying, you know what, man, remove this fear, because God doesn't give us a spirit of fear. So understanding that and understanding what fear truly is, it's very key. And so when I talk about faith, I always say faith over fear. It's hard for fear to survive where faith is truly present. And so when it comes to faith, faith to me is knowing a door is going to open that doesn't even exist yet. So I know or knowing that you're going to conquer, overcome, and walk through that door of fear. We don't even know what's on the other side of that door. And that's faith. And that's the type of faith that you have to overcome your fear. So let's talk about this. 3 little things that you can apply to your life with fear. Number 1 is understanding what it is, right? It's creating a known result from a situation you haven't experienced yet. So what do I do with that? Well, maybe I should change the result. Maybe I should change the experience. Maybe I should change what's on the other side of that door of fear so I can walk through that door. So instead of saying, you know what, nobody's going to support me, be like, you know what? My gift is going to make an impact. I'm not worried about who supports me. I'm not worried about how many lives it reaches. I'm just worried about getting this gift, getting this passion to the world, because I know The world needs it. You know, I know I need to give my voice to the world, so I'm not going to let nothing silence my voice. So with me, what I started saying when I was speaking that helped me, I stopped trying to be perfect, right? I was like, who cares about being perfect? Like, the people that are judging you, which is going to be step 3, I'm going to talk about in a minute, aren't perfect anyway. So I started saying, you know what? I'm just trying to impact one life. That's it. That's it. I'm going to give my story, and God's going to take the story, the message that's on my heart to the hearts that need it. So I changed the result, right? So I started telling myself, I'm going to win the fight. So I would step inside the ring. I'm going to win the fight. So that's number 1. Number 2, so number 1 is changing the outcome, right? Before you experience it, get a positive outcome. Because if you don't, you're never gonna move forward. Fear is gonna paralyze your life. Number 2 is understanding that fear cannot survive with repetition, right? The more you do something, the more confident you will become. The more you do, the more confidence will be produced. Fear cannot survive with repetition. Think about it for a second. Think about all the things that you were nervous about, all the things in your life that when you first started, maybe it was your job. The first time you went to that job, you were super nervous. You're like, man, I don't know if I can do this. I'm nervous. But as you did it more and more and more, that nervousness went away, that fear went away, and confidence was built. So the more you do, the more confidence will be produced. So if you never do, it's hard to be confident about it. So the reason I'm confident about now when I step on stage and speak is because I've done it for almost 9 years now. I practice every day, whether I'm speaking or not on stage. I practice every day, whether I'm on live. Right now, this is a practice, me getting on here and just speaking. Whether I'm on live or not, I practice every day. I know it might seem weird, but I talk to myself. You know, I pick a topic and I talk because I know even though I'm not talking to an audience, I'm still giving that repetition of me speaking from my heart. That's why I'm so confident. Like, if you ever been to my events, you know, of course I have a structure, but I don't have notes. I'm up there speaking from the heart for 2 hours and 30 minutes, but I'm confident in that, you know? So, because I've done it so many times, so many things to pull from and speak to. So think about that. Like, keep on doing it. As they say, 10 hours make you a master, 10,000 hours make you a master at something. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, but I just know the more you do something, the more confident you will become. You know, challenge those fears, conquer that struggle. And the third thing is, you know, realizing that people are going to judge you anyway. A lot of our fears come from external things, right? We let the external things kill the internal passion in our lives. We let the external opinions kill the internal passions in our lives. We let the external judgments kill everything inside of us, silence our voice. We let opinion silence our voice because we're so afraid to be judged. We're so afraid to mess up. We're so afraid to not to be perfect. Throw away the perfection thing, all right? Throw it away. Who cares about being perfect? Life is not about being perfect. Life is about being real. Life is not about perfection. It's about progression. Understand, the people that are judging you are not perfect. Like, I realize that. So when I go speak, you can ask, like, I've messed up times. Like, I've got to a place where I, like, literally had, like, a brain fart. Like, I'm, like, stuck, and people are just looking at me. I don't care. I make jokes about it because I know people out there that's in the audience aren't perfect neither. We all mess up. We all get stuck at times, and it's okay. And so that's helped me realize, like, the people out there are not perfect neither. We're all imperfect beings, and I've realized with my life, my most imperfect moments, like, even on stage, even when I'm speaking, like, have been the most powerful moments, just to be real with you. Like, the times where, you know, maybe I got stuck, or even like in New Zealand. Like, New Zealand wasn't a perfect event as far as me speaking, but it was a purposeful event. It was a more impactful event than any perfect event could have been, because even in those imperfect moments, it was still a perfect purpose in those moments. I hope you guys understand that. And so I'm not telling you just to go seek to be imperfect, but understand, like, none of us are perfect, you know, and perfection is something that I feel like paralyzes our lives. We feel like we have to be perfect so much, and we feel like that's something that we can't obtain. So instead of just trying, instead of taking a step, we just say, well, I can't be perfect at this, so I'm not going to do it. And that's a bad way to live life. So number 3, I guess the step would be stop trying to be perfect and realize that you're going to be judged regardless. Do you understand that? Like, if you're doing nothing with your life, you're being judged for doing nothing with your life. If you're making a change, people going to say you ain't changing enough. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing great with your life, people are going to say, oh, well, you're not doing great enough. Do you realize this world is going to judge you regardless? Doesn't matter where you're at in life. So my whole motto is you might as well give your gift to the world. You might as well give your voice to the world. You might as well give your talent to the world, whatever it is, and let them judge you regardless. Give your greatness to the world and let them judge your greatness. Who cares? Because there's a bunch of people in this world that's going to appreciate you for that, you know? So people are judging you regardless. So that's telling me, it's like, okay, well, they judging me anyway. So might as well just be myself and be comfortable in my own skin. And so those are kind of three things, man, that's helped me overcome fear just over the years. And even as I run into other fears, you know, presently and in the future, I will too. We're all human. We're going to run into our fears. But those things have helped me. And the more I've overcome certain fears, it gives me leverage in my life to overcome different fears, because I can always pull from, well, you used to be scared to speak, and now you're doing this with no problem. You used to be scared to do X, Y, Z. Now you're doing this with no problem. And I use that leverage when other fears arise in my life that keep me from going to a place I know my life needs to go. And so I always reflect. And so sometimes, I guess that would be the fourth step. Reflect, right? Reflect on times that you were scared to do something, but you went and did it, and how much freedom you found in it. Also realizing that fear is like the boogeyman, right? It's like once you realize that it's make-believe, it's not really real, it's like a creation in our mind, you start to go attack it more, right? You're like, you know, fear ain't nothing. Fear ain't that bad. Just think about the things you were scared to do that you got so much joy out of doing once you did it. Think about that. And so use that as leverage in your life moving forward. And that will help you change that result, that known result from a situation you haven't experienced yet. And fear will stop paralyzing your life, because I'm tired of seeing so many people that have talents and gifts, and I see it all the time. I'm like, why aren't you singing? You have a beautiful voice. I'm like, why aren't you speaking? Or whatever it may be. Like, you have so much knowledge. Like, why? And it's always due to the fear of something. And usually it's the fear of being judged. You know, that's the biggest fear. As you know, the number one fear in the world is public speaking. You heard it before. As they say, people would rather be in the casket than give the eulogy. It's crazy. People would rather die than go public speak. And that always kind of like bothered me. Like, really? And I know why. People are that afraid to be judged, man. They're that afraid to put their flaws on display. They're that afraid to put their imperfections on display. They're that afraid to mess up. And if you're that afraid to mess up, let me tell you something, man. The road to success, the best you, is going to be full of mistakes. It's going to be full of wrong turns. I don't even call them wrong turns no more. I feel like it's just a different path that you have to take. Understand that, man. There's no straight path, to perfection. Progression is full of ups and downs, learning experiences, losses, gains. That's life. And so you got to stop thinking that everything's going to go 100% right. When I'm listening to people, sometimes I just stick on certain words and listen to language, right? Because language is big. How we speak to ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, how we express ourselves is big, because a lot of us, we put so much negativity on our lives. Just listen to how somebody talks, right? That's why I always say your perspective can either be your power or your prison. When you listen to people talk, you realize that their perspective is their prison. And so she's like, everything I do goes wrong. She kept talking. I said, wait a minute. I said, what's wrong? Why is that wrong? Because I was like, in order for you to know it's wrong, you would have to understand the path, the future path for your life. You would have to understand where God is taking your life or allowing you to go. You would have to understand your future, because like I told her, it was a lot of wrongs, quote unquote, that got me here. So if it wasn't for those things going wrong, me getting cut from the NFL, so many other things I could talk about, probably spend another hour talking about. If it wasn't for those wrongs, I wouldn't be here. Y'all know my quote, God will allow you to go through places you don't understand just to bring you to the place where he needs you to be. So if it wasn't for those wrong turns, I wouldn't be here. So maybe things aren't going wrong. Maybe things are going the way they need to go. to bring you to the place where you need to be. You know, maybe things have to fail in order to push you to another place, right? Maybe you have to lose in life to push your mindset, or to push you to meet a person or connections or whatever. Maybe you have to lose that job to put your life in a better position, a better place, a better environment for something or someone to come into your life to grow your life. So I don't think things go wrong. You know, things don't go the way we want them to go, but that's life. And sometimes when things don't want them to when things don't go the way we want them to go, things are going exactly the way we need them to go. And I want you to think about that. So don't say, oh, things are going wrong, it's going wrong, it's going wrong, because you're teaching yourself that you're not getting anywhere in life. But I've learned in real life, like even hiking, like sometimes I've taken the wrong path, and the wrong path was more beautiful, was more peaceful, was more purposeful than the right path. And it put me to the right place. Now, I'm not telling you to go do bad things on purpose, okay? This is not that message. But I'm just saying, like, when things aren't working out, maybe something better is working out for you. When things aren't going the way you think they should go, maybe they're going the way your life needs them to go. Maybe this route, this detour is more purposeful than the right path, than the right way. So think about that. And that's just the mindset that I've been in the last few years. Like, of course I'm human. I worry at times about things, but I go back to that and I think about that. Like, it took all those wrongs to bring me to the right place for my life. And that's a message for somebody out there, because I know somebody out there is in that position in life. It's like everything's going wrong. This is going wrong. This is going wrong. This is going wrong. And of course you have to, take self-accountability over your life and evaluate certain things. But like I said, like for my NFL life, like I know I was doing the right things. Like I knew I was balling, like for real. Like it's not just me saying that. I knew I was, but it still wasn't happening. Like it's like for some reason, it wasn't happening. But now I know why it wasn't happening, because there was a greater purpose for my life. There was a greater plan than the plan I had for myself. And you have to think about that with your life. So when things aren't working out, when things are going the wrong way, tell yourself, maybe things have to go this way in order for my life to get to the place where it needs to be. Okay? Because just think about that for a second. You get off of here. Think about everything that didn't go right that led you to something better. Think about that. For some of us, it was a wrong relationship, right, that led us to the right one. We would have never met that person if the wrong relationship didn't work out. For some of us, it was the wrong job, right? The wrong job that wasn't going right that led us to something better for our life. So think about that, man. I think that can build a lot of confidence in your life moving forward and how you deal with life. And what's most impressive is that it builds your power perspective, because we know our perspective can either be our what? Our power or our prison. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys today, man. I hope you got something out of today. If you know anybody that needs this message, share it with them, please. And hopefully this will help a bit. Like I said, I don't know all the answers to life. I have so many questions myself, but this is just suggestions that I want to give to you guys that help me. And, I want to share it, because your transparency will lead to other people's transformation. Realize that. Don't be afraid to share your story. Don't be afraid to be transparent, because people need your story, man. They need your story. Trust me, all right? Let's get it, guys. I appreciate you.